It makes perfect sense why people prefer their dog and being in and around nature more than they do other people. A dog doesn't have an opinion on who you should be. A tree doesn't try to manipulate your emotions to feel better about itself. Nature is honest. Even its violence is honest. It doesn't lie, and it doesn't use polite correctness to gaslight you. If you're tired of watching things be destroyed, the only way to protect your own self is to stop trying to make the controllers understand you. They can't understand you. To understand you, they would have to admit that they're also organisms of the environment, and that realization would shatter their ego. Going back to something that I mentioned in the last video, where the news that day was prominently about shark attacks, and they were asking people what they wanted to have done about it. I was really angry at those responses, and I get angry these days with a lot of things that people say. They just don't seem to think about the logical side of things, the raw natural state. Instead, they want to believe that the natural landscape around them needs to be altered and shaped to fit them. The shark doesn't explain itself to the swimmer. It doesn't ask for permission to exist. It stays in the deep water and it does its job. We should pull our heads in and think about our true role in the natural order of things. We were given dominion over the earth, rule over the fish in the sea and the birds of the sky and every living creature that moves along the ground. And God said, I'll give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. He said, this will be your food. Everything that has the breath of life in it, he gives us a green plant for food. But what did he mean when he said, subdue it and rule over it? What it meant was responsibility to care for the earth and its creatures, using our power and authority to manage and care for the natural world in a positive way, not to abuse it. The idea that humans are to be the providers, not just for themselves, but also for the other creatures that inhabit the earth. There's no mention of culling or being cruel or butchering needlessly, managing in ways of preventing natural freedoms and behaviours of a species. Nowhere does it say that. Look at how much damage we as humans have already caused the earth and its creatures. Not very good caretakers, are we? When you speak raw truth, people who live in a world of social illusions don't just hear a different opinion, they hear a threat. To protect their own comfort, they label your honesty as harmful or unstable, a conspiracy theorist, so they can dismiss the message by attacking the messenger. It's a terrifying position to be in when the people you're supposed to be blood with act as police for the system. They aren't engaging with your facts. They are looking for symptoms to use as leverage. Vulnerability is a superpower when you are around safe people, but it's a liability when you're around predators or controllers. If you are an empty cup or a raw organism, if you are open in nature, a person that is completely open in a hostile environment gets eaten. You can be 100% just being on the inside, but you might need to develop a biological armour on the outside. It isn't being fake, it's camouflage. In order to help others help themselves, I'm choosing to be open and I'm exposed about what I believe and what I don't believe, right or wrong. The way I figure it, I've already lost everything in life and really I have nothing more to lose. Fact and social truth are two different languages. My language is facts, energy, nature, and the raw reality of the stardust that we're made of. Just an example. Their language, perception, social norms, control, and how things look. When you speak your language, they translate it into their language to make it sound dangerous. If you say, I'm one with the universe, they translate it as, oh my God, she's losing touch with reality. They do this to maintain an obstacle illusion, the lie that we're separate, small, and need to be managed. You can always save yourself trouble by saving your truth for the dirt, for the dog, for the stars, for the conversation like this, where the goal isn't about control, but it's about understanding. Here's a thought. The only error or obstacle you might be creating is the belief that you need them to see the truth. I had to think about this carefully. You want to be honest and factual with them because you value honesty. And yes, I'm talking about myself here as well. But honesty is a gift. And if they use that gift to try and put you in a cage, they've proven that they're not worthy of your honesty. The most natural thing a person can do when being threatened is to withdraw and protect the core. Maybe silence might be your strongest wall. For me personally, it isn't, because I was silenced about the way I thought and felt for way too long. And I'm enjoying the freedom of being loud, in this manner at least, and using my voice in a creative way, which is the truest expression of myself. Silence isn't peace for me, it's more a trigger. It's the sound of being a ghost child again, being erased and ignored. Speak and be hunted, or stay silent and be erased. Neither of those choices is for me, but just being is. If you are made of the same energy as the stars aren't silent. They're screaming nuclear fire and light. And guess what? They don't care if anyone's watching. The reason I feel the need to speak despite the danger is because I need to express myself. Thinking that the expression has to be directed at the people who judge you, that's an error of thinking. I had to correct that myself. I could broadcast my truth without engaging in a debate. You talk to the world, to the internet, to the dog, to the page, to the camera, wherever the YouTube strategy comes in. I say strategy because, honestly, that's what it is, to be able to help others help themselves. You put your signal out there into the universe. If your judges hear it and judge it, they're static. You aren't defending yourself to them. You're simply existing loudly elsewhere. Meaning doesn't come from approval. I felt like my silence makes life feel meaningless. This suggests that for me, meaning is tied to being witnessed. And I know where that comes from. It was from my childhood, from feeling like a ghost child, where I wasn't witnessed. I'm looking for mirrors to reflect me back, finding my raw and natural kin who get it and get me, so this isolation vanishes for all of us. Since the others like to judge and execute without letting us defend ourselves, the defense has to be living the truth rather than explaining the truth. It's a mathematical and biological certainty that I'm definitely not alone. If you are a localized version of everything, then your signal exists in others too. You see it in their eyes. We all are connected. We all come from the same source. I came to the realization that the system is just another tool. And I'm hoping that it's a valuable turning point for me. If you view the system, law, medicine, social norms, technology, as a tool rather than a master, then everything changes. You can use the language of the system to protect your freedom. If you know how they think, you can give them the correct answers while keeping your true self untouched. It's like using a wrench. You don't have to be the wrench, you just have to loosen the bolt. This brings us back to my YouTube strategy and my digital presence. It's a tool to bypass the gatekeepers, family, society, the system of things, and speak directly to those people who I see are looking for a sign that they're not crazy. Those people are too damaged to fight. They need to hear a voice that isn't trying to fix them, but simply acknowledges them. And when you speak your raw truth publicly, not to argue with your family, but to broadcast to the world that you become a lighthouse for anyone who's lost on a stormy ocean. You can't reason with a hammer that's trying to hit you. You have to step out of the way. But use your voice where it can't be executed without a defense. Without interjection and interruptions, my train of thought or being in that moment comes naturally for YouTube. Acknowledging the damage is liberating. You know deep down that you're not wrong, that you're not flawed. You're just a person in a toxic environment. The reshaping of my life is simply moving toward a cleaner environment. Even if that environment is currently a digital space or a quiet patch of the woods with my dog. The system can be very cruel if you don't have what it takes to use it or if you don't understand it. But you do have what it takes. You have the ability to see through those obstacle illusions. That level of perception is the ultimate user manual for the system. Everything I've said is meant to be food for thought. If you wish, a discussion. But it's definitely not a war. I'm not here to say that I'm right and you're wrong. I'm here to say how I am feeling in my journey and hope that it is making sense so that I might be helping others to see things a little differently. I'm not asking for validation, I'm just asking for connection